Hello, hello, hello. My name is Karl Monahan. I am the owner of the Pelvic Pain Clinic. I am the founder member of Pelvic Pain Matters and a former sufferer of pelvic pain myself. This is Pelvic Pain Natters. This is the podcast dedicated to male pelvic pain conditions. And this is episode 47. Episode 47 is continuing looking at flare-ups and why hasn't this gone? Why hasn't this flare-up gone immediately? These are Friday takeaways are short versions of the podcast, and these are little snippets of information. These are bits of guidance that I want to impart to you to help you navigate your journey through recovery from pelvic pain as a patient. If you're a loved one, then this information might help you unpack and understand what your partner or loved one or friend is going through. And if you're a clinician, again, this is upskilling you as a therapist to help work with these guys and support them as best you possibly can in their journey to recovery. Now, why am I doing this episode? Well, I've been building upon a series of flare-up podcasts, and just because flare-ups are just the worst, and they are the most common denominating factor in every single case. And this is really important to note and to recognize as well. I want to draw attention to them in the right possible way. And I want to help you navigate them and guide your way through them because as much as they suck, they are part of the recovery process and they will get less if you're working in the right fashion here, and a little bit more on this in a moment. If you're working on them in the right way, they will get less. They will have less and less of an impact. But my goodness me, when they do come, particularly if they haven't been there for a while. And so the last couple of podcasts have been looking at the hope that kills you and flare-ups as a process as well. Do go back and check them out if you haven't already. This will be the fourth in a series of flare-up podcasts that I'm just running a series of, like I said. So why hasn't it gone immediately? Oh, it's here. I wish it wasn't here. I just want it over and done with. I want to be done with this. I want to get past this. I don't want to have to flare up anymore. It's ruining my life. It feels like it's going to be here forever. I feel like I'm never going to be able to get past this. I just like, what's the point? Why should I even bother with anything anymore? Because that's the way I'm feeling right now. Sound familiar? Sound like something that you know? It probably, maybe even currently, some of you are probably going through flare-ups as you're listening to this. So this might be quite timely. It may also be something you want to record or save and then come back to when you do go through a flare-up. And as much as this pains to set me to say, as much as this pains me to say, you will get flare-ups. They are normal and part of recovery. No one avoids them. No one avoids them. All right. So what often happens when it's not going as quickly as we want it to? Well, we get worried, we get catastrophic. So I'm going to include our free catastrophization guide in here, a link to sign up for it. If you haven't already got it, do sign up to getting your free copy. Check out our pointers on managing and overcoming catastrophization. Completely free. And I think you'll find that really beneficial because what can often happen is when we are flaring up and it's not going as quick as we want to, we get really down on ourselves. We start having worrying and anxious thoughts, and that can really throw us off. Now, casting the net into the future, I'm going to explain what happens in catastrophization and what our brain does for us. And when we can understand that, it can be really helpful and really powerful. But for now, let's just look at managing your catastrophization because often we'll go back online. We'll take a look and see what research papers are out there, if there's any new websites, if there's any new YouTube videos. It's very easy to do this. We might go back on chat rooms and forums and just, oh, I just need help. Again, I don't like being here. I want it gone straight away. Is there anything new that's out there? And I often hear this. Often, like every week, nearly every day from patients who are having unpleasant flare-ups or flare-ups I'm not sure there's a pleasant flare up. I'm not sure that's even a thing. But the unpleasantness of a flare up, I suppose, is what I'm trying to say. I want them gone now. I just want the symptoms over. I want the express elevator out of this. And I often hear to patients, what can I take? What medication can I take? What supplement can I take? What stretch can I do that's going to get me out of here? There is no express elevator. I wish there was. I wish there was a way of just catapulting you out from where you are. This is a process. Check last week's podcast. This is part of the natural process of going through recovery. It's about trusting the process. It is about saying, all right, look, this sucks, but I know if I crack on with my self-care, it will pass. And that's speaking from a point of confidence and a position of power and a position of control. Often you don't feel these elements when you're going through a flare-up. There's a bit of a paradox here that sometimes patients who have had their symptoms for longer and have been working on self-care and working on a program of recovery can recognize and acknowledge that, here we are again. I see this, and I know that there is a pattern to this. I know that this flare-up will go. I really don't like it, but I can feel my mood slipping. I can feel my irritability returning. I can feel my joy or hope for life ebbing away. And then someone who's had their symptoms for a longer period of time might recognize that. Someone who's only had their symptoms for maybe months or weeks, that can all just feel like a real assault on the senses and full of uncertainty as well. Why hasn't it gone? And even that anticipation, even that wind up of our system and that wind up of our emotions can drive the flare up even more so. So it then feeds upon itself. How frustrating is that? How unfair is that? That I've got these physical symptoms. I'm now feeling catastrophic. I'm now feeling anxious and panicked and worried. And that's then feeding back into my symptoms and making them worse and making me feel even more panicked and making me feel like I can't do life in the way that I was able to before this flare up happened. It's just a kicker. It really, really is. And it feels like we're being kicked even harder when we're at our lowest point. The best piece of advice I can give you here is keep on keeping on. Don't give up on your self-care. Don't give up on doing those things that make you feel better. How easy is it to reach for energy dense food, crisps, sweets, chocolate, pizza, burgers, fatty foods? How easy is it to reach for booze, other stimulants, alcohol? Same thing. Cigarettes or other drugs. How easy is it to try and suppress those things, those feelings that we're getting by um, dampening them down? They won't help in the long run. They might make you feel better in the short run. Staying up and binge watching Netflix until the small hours of the morning might be a distraction, but it ain't going to help you. Really, really sorry. The best thing you can do is invest back in yourself again and know that it will pass. Often self-care slips when we're feeling good. And then we blame ourselves and we berate ourselves and we get more frustrated. Oh, I should have just kept up with my self-care. I should have kept on doing the things that were making me feel good. And again, that feeds back into us feeling even more rubbish. So, some takeaway points from this. Maintain your self-care even if you're feeling good. Maintain your self-care even if you're having a flare-up. If you are having a flare-up, then reduce some of the intensity and the duration of your activities and your self-care bits by about 50%. So stretch for a slightly less amount of time. If you're exercising, exercise with less intensity and less duration. It will pass, but keep up that self-care. Check out our catastrophization guide and know that this will pass. As much of an annoyance as it is right now, and as much as you want to do those things that make you feel good in the short term, going back online, getting back on the forums, eating rubbish food, turning to alcohol or other stimulants or other activities like binge watching Netflix or um, uh, other platforms upon which you can watch TV shows and films, then if you can oversee that and recognize that that's not helpful, get to bed early, eat well, eat clean, exercise lightly and gently. This will pass. There is no express elevator, unfortunately, but that investment into your self-care is just gold. It's well worth it. And that is the thing that will help that flare up to pass. Okay. Why hasn't it gone? Probably because there's not been enough time and enough investment into good quality self-care to allow it to pass. And I know that's a paradox, and I know that sucks, and I know that's hard to hear. I get it. I get it. I know that personally. I see this professionally, but trust me, that is the best investment. And it might take a week or a couple of weeks or a month for things to settle, but it is well worth staying on that path, staying on that road to recovery. You can get over this. It's not going to be the life sentence that we often feel it is in a flare up. This is a Friday takeaway. This is episode 47 of the Pelvic Pain Natters podcast. My name's Karl Monahan. I hope you found that beneficial. Please do reach out, comments. Um, I'd love to hear them. You can catch me at pelvicpainmatters@gmail.com, or you can comment on the platform that you are using for listening to this episode or watching this episode. Until next time, thanks very much.